We're all born with a core true self. We also have parts of us that get activated in challenging situations. These are feelings and behaviors that each play an important role in our lives. Parts try to help us, and sometimes we come to realize that they're not actually being helpful, but they always have good intentions. Parts often come to be during our childhood years to protect us from pain. In IFS therapy, all parts are welcome and appreciated. We acknowledge that every part of a person has a good reason for being there. So we express gratitude for their hard work, and then we show them that we have other ways to cope with painful situations and help them find other roles because they're no longer really helping. We unburden negative beliefs that we've been carrying with us for so long, and we learn to live life with self-leadership. Instead of allowing our parts to drive the bus, the session that you're about to view is an example of how parts work together to form an internal family system.
So I'm here to work on a certain kind of problem with intimacy. It's not like an obvious problem. It's like it feels to me when I have to make like eye contact with my wife or even sometimes family members. Sometimes I can't even put my finger on what it is, but I start to feel very uncomfortable. And without realizing it, maybe my glance gets averted. Once in a while my wife might remind me and say, you're not looking in your children's eyes when they're talking to you. And I realize just sometimes I just get uncomfortable and I don't really know what that's about exactly, or if I could just stop doing it.
So it's hard for you sometimes to make eye contact when you're interacting with your wife and your children?
Yeah, a lot of times I think I do make eye contact, but I think that it may not, I don't always feel comfortable with it, and maybe there are other times where I avoid it more than I'm aware of. But there's something that seems to get triggered that makes me uncomfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I like, spending time with my kids and my family, like it's not, an obvious thing.
Okay. So you sense a discomfort, but you don't know where it's coming from.
Right, and I don't want to have it.
Yeah. Okay. So go inside. Maybe it'll be helpful to close your eyes. Go inside and find the part of you that feels this discomfort when you're in the presence of your wife or your children.
It just feels like a stomach, like I feel a clenching in my stomach.
It's a clenching in your stomach, and does it have a shape, a texture, a color?
It feels like a kind of tool, like a pliers or something that's grabbed around my stomach, holding it.
So it's a tool that's holding your stomach.
Yeah.
So tools are used to help us do things that we can't do without the tools. So
Right.
How do you feel towards this tool?
Well, it feels like it's stopping me and it's hurting me. I always, as young as I can remember, when I was anxious about something, I would feel it in my stomach. I would feel, a pain in my stomach when I was nervous, before a test, or if I was getting caught, in trouble or whatever. So it's like that. It hurts. It doesn't feel like a tool that's fixing anything.
Right. So it's a tool that has a purpose, but it feels to you that it's not helpful. tool.
Right.
So what's your feeling toward it as you think about this tool?
Well, I'm annoyed. Like, get off my stomach.
Yeah. Okay. Where's the annoyed part in your body?
Maybe like kind of on the right side, a little bit like off of where the tool is clamping my stomach, and then like on the right side, I'm standing and saying like, look, what are you doing here? Like, get off.
Right. Okay. So ask this annoyed part if it would be willing to step back just for now so that you could work with the tool part.
Like, ask it how. Like, what do you mean?
Ask the annoyed part. It's there for a reason, right? It's trying to give the tool the message. This is not okay what you're doing. You're clamping my stomach. Hey,
Right.
get away, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's doing that. Ask it if it could take a break from doing that.
Like, I should imagine that I'm asking it?
No. Ask the annoyed part directly if it would unblend from the side of your stomach for a bit of time. It could sit in the waiting room. It could sit next to you. It could sit right there. And it could watch if it wants, or it could sit in the waiting room.
He'll sit right over here.
Okay. So thank the annoyed part for its willingness.
Okay.
Did it hear you?
Yes.
Okay. So the annoyed part sitting right there? Good.
Mm-hmm.
So go back to the tool that's clenching your stomach. And how do you feel toward it now?
I want to hear what it has to say. I still rather it would stop grabbing hold of my stomach, but
Yeah.
okay, I mean, I'm willing to hear what it has to say.
So you're curious?
Yeah,
Are you willing to really hear what it has to say?
I really am, yes.
Okay, might there be anything else in the way aside from the annoyed part?
I don't know, maybe there's maybe I'm also scared.
Okay. So where's the scared part?
On the left side, a little
Okay.
bit,
Okay.
you know.
So,
The scared part not as big, but the
Okay.
scared part is like kind of scared of, this is looking really kind of silly, this is weird, you know, what
Yeah.
are we really doing?
right. Okay. Yeah. So acknowledge the scared part. Let it know that you get it, that it feels weird. And ask it if it would be willing to also unblend from the side of your stomach and to sit somewhere in the room or in the waiting room, whichever it prefers.
It really doesn't want to let go. It's very scared.
Oh, so maybe it's a little bigger than what you originally thought.
No, it's tiny but tough.
Tiny but tough?
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
like you can't tear him off. He's like
Okay.
holding on tight.
Okay, so ask it what is it scared of. Maybe it's more than just weird. That this process is weird.
Doesn't want to talk.
Oh. Okay. Let it know that you understand that it doesn't want to talk.
Okay.
Okay. Ask it what it would need in order to feel comfortable to step aside just for a little bit of time. Even to be right next to you to watch what we're doing.
he produced a very long scroll, a list of like 30 demands that need to be met before it's willing to walk away.
Okay. So, let's find out what's on the scroll.
That it has to be safe, that it has to be comfortable, that no one can make fun, that you can't rush, that you have to listen very carefully. It really has a long, long list. Like it's one of those scrolls that spills out and then like it rolls, all the way on the floor.
Yeah. Well, can you acknowledge to the scared part that that whole list on the scroll, that each and every one is important and that you do honor and respect it?
It's saying fine, but you didn't even read all of it.
We're going to read it. You're just letting it know first and foremost that you care about what it says.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so now go through the scroll, through all the demands, one by one, and let the scared part know what it is you want to say to it about each demand separately. So for example, I'm reassuring the scared part. Can I talk to it?
Okay.
Okay, so scared part, I know you are on the side of Simcha's stomach and you're really tiny, but you are stubborn and you don't want to leave. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have a scroll of demands, about 30, that you're worried about. You're scared about a lot of stuff. And Simcha and I are going to read all the things on the list and we're going to address them with you. So, for starters, I'm telling you that you will not be made fun of and we will take it slow and it's going to be safe. And I'm hoping that you can trust both of us to make it a comfortable, safe experience. And now Simcha's going to read everything that's on the scroll and going to acknowledge and see how he's going to respond to you, because they're all important.
Okay.
So what's on the scroll and what did you tell the scared part?
Well, it's a long list, but we did go through the items and we said we're going to really do our best with them.
Okay. And how does the scared part receive what you said?
He's willing to stay here. He's going to stay very close by. He's not going to sit. He's going to stand.
Okay.
To be alert
Mm-hmm.
at possible problems.
Yes.
But he's willing to step back a bit.
Okay. So thank it for being willing to stand next to you.
Okay.
He's comfortable standing there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now go back to the tool that's clenching your stomach. And how do you feel towards it now?
I know the same. I'm willing to hear what it has to say.
Okay. So ask it, what is it doing for you? What is its job?
If it doesn't hold on really tight and clench up the stomach, everything's just going to spill out.
Wow. Okay. and ask it, how long has it been doing this job of keeping everything together?
Since third grade.
Ask it if it could tell you the story about how it came to do this job in third grade.
I know the story very well.
Can the part, the tool that's protecting you, tell the story?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, what is the story?
Well, third grade was a very difficult time because I had to switch schools, and really, a lot of really unhappy changes happened at that time. So there was terrible financial difficulty in my family, and I went to a different school, and my mother's father died, as my grandfather died at that time, and there was just a lot of change and confusion, and it didn't seem like anything was really for the better.
And how did the tool part help you through that year?
Well, it just seemed that the expectations and the demands of the environment were so difficult that I had to keep everything really clamped, otherwise it would just all spill out, and then I would be weak, because I went from a place that was more open and more secure and allowed more openness and creativity to a place where it was a little more hostile, a little more suspicious of children, a little more difficult. And now that I think about it, it was like I realized I had to really clamp down and somehow hold on really tight to whatever was going on inside.
So what would have happened if the tool wasn't there to help you?
I would have been weak, and like sharks smell blood, the kids would have eaten me up alive.
Okay. So this tool really helped you to survive that year, changing schools.
Many years subsequent.
Many years. In a more hostile environment, in a place that you didn't feel safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this part that created itself and this role to keep you protected from being weak and eaten like a shark?
Well, it's once you get into that habit, it's still there. Like I think that I use it to deal with different situations where it's not necessarily safe to be open or be candid, and so it's very helpful, to keep things shut and quiet and under control.
So would you be able to thank the tool part for helping you through this time, all those years in that new school?
Then I don't really want to thank him because it's years and years of stomach aches.
Yeah, okay. So what part
I know
says,
theoretically I should be grateful because I get it that it did like this important job because I had to survive, but I'm really not so grateful.
well, now as an adult, you may not need this part to be doing this job. And if it knew that you were an adult, that you could handle unsafe situations and places that are more hostile and less open, then it wouldn't necessarily do this job. But it doesn't know that. It thinks you're still in third grade. So maybe it might be a good idea to update this part and let it know where you're at today.
I don't know, I'm not getting like a good feeling about this. Like it feels to me almost like I don't believe that I'm safe. Forget about the part. Like that part, it's true that that part obviously feels it has to keep clamping my stomach. But I feel like I'm lying. I don't feel that I even could say, it's odd. I don't think I could look that part in the eye and say that you're safe now and that things are past. It doesn't feel that way.
That part being the third grader?
Whatever, the part of me is clamping onto my stomach. Like I don't, separate from that part, I don't feel that.
So that's another part. There's a part of you that believes that the tool that clenches your stomach still needs to be there.
Well, how do you know it's a part? Maybe it's me.
It's not you. Because yourself can handle any situation. And you don't need tools to clench your stomach and to protect you in ways that you needed when you were a kid. So it's not you. It's not yourself. It's another part. It's a part that's not trusting. So where's that part in your body that says, oh no, we can't let go, the tool can't let go?
My brain.
Okay. So ask that part in your brain what it's doing for you.
And just making sure everything goes smoothly.
Yes. So ask it if it would be willing to take a break just for a little bit of time and to unblend from your brain so that you and I can work with that third grader.
Okay.
So where is it now?
Sitting next to the
Annoyed
other
part?
Yeah, the annoyed part.
Thank it for doing that. Okay. So let's go to that third grader. Let him tell you more about his story and what he needs from you.
Sorry, you got into a little conversation. What was the question again?
You got into a conversation with the third grader?
Mm-hmm.
That's fabulous. The question was that you want to ask the third younger self if it wants to tell you more about the story and what he needs from you. And if you had a little conversation, that's probably really important.
He needs to, the most important thing that he needs is a lot of time to play because that was taken away. a lot of play was taken away from that change from second grade to third grade.
Mm-hmm.
The school day was longer. The expectation of how much work I was supposed to do was more. The way in which the teachers like enjoyed doing what they're doing was different. The teachers were just much of the time, not all the time, much of the time, just bitter, grumpy men. In the old school, a lot of the teachers were women that were more nurturing and more, artistic and creative. So it's like, and the school day was longer, and the way that they followed the different, like, interpretation of the religious laws was also stricter. It was like everything was away from play. It was like a much more abrupt, like, end to childhood in a certain way. So the third grader wants me to make sure that there's time to play.
And how do you feel towards him now?
I feel bad for the little guy.
Yeah. So what would you like to say to him now that he was so articulate? He told you exactly what he needed.
Well, thank you for being so clear, and if the kid says he needs to play, he needs to play. You can't ignore that.
So how can you help him to get what he needs?
I don't know, I'm very busy.
Can you schedule some time, maybe now that we're sitting here together? Can you help him get some space to play?
That's a very interesting question. I don't know, it's not so simple.
Okay.
There actually is a lot to take care of.
Okay. What needs to be taken care of?
Everything under the sun, but since he's a part of me, I mean, he can't play while I'm working.
Oh,
Can't
yes,
do
he
plays at
can.
the same time.
No, he can play. You ask him where he wants to go while you're working, where he wants to be, where he wants to play, what he wants to play. He doesn't need to be working.
Really?
Yeah. Take him out of there.
Okay.
Ask him where he wants to go.
Well, he wants to go to the beach, build sandcastles, things like that.
Can you take time to take him to the beach and build sandcastles?
Well, that's not like, do I have to actually do it? I have to find time for that. That's not easy.
Can you do that right now? And then after that, you'll put it in your calendar, because I know you're very organized with your calendar. So if you schedule something, you'll be able to do it. But for right now, you and I are sitting together.
But in real life, I'm just trying to understand this. Are you saying I should imagine I'm taking him to the beach? Or are you saying that I need to make time to take him to the beach and I have to go too?
I'm asking you to take him to the beach right now
Okay.
to help him heal from all that difficulty,
Mm-hmm.
that lack of play.
Mm-hmm.
So where is he now?
He's at the beach, playing in the sand, trying to build some giant sand sculpture thing.
And how do you feel towards him?
Well, I'm happy for him. Should have a blast.
Ask him if he's ready to unburden all those horrible feelings
What do you mean by
of
unburdened?
the teachers being bitter and having all those demands on him, not having time to play. If he can let all of that go because he's with you now and he can get to have fun and play.
So unburden, you mean to let go of those feelings?
Yeah, because he's safe now with you.
He's willing to do that, but there's I don't know. I'm getting confused because I feel my stomach clenched very tight now.
Okay. So, ask your stomach what's happening.
It's in some kind of, vice that's being clamped down.
Yeah. So ask the vice, ask your stomach, ask the tool what's happening right now.
Well, somebody holding on very tight.
Yeah. So find out more. Who's holding on?
I don't know. It looks different than the other tool. It's older, it's rustier, it's a little bigger.
How old is it? Is it younger than the third grader?
No, that's interesting. The tool feels older, but it doesn't feel that it's about something older. If you know what I mean. The tool is older and bigger and rusty.
Mm-hmm.
It's holding my stomach.
Ask it what it's doing for you. What role is it playing? What is its job?
It's holding the family together.
Ask it to tell you more about how it's holding the family together.
I can't even tell whether it's like from my father's side or my mother's side, because maybe it's both. But it's an old tool, and basically he's saying that, that this tool has been in the family for a long time, and that, its job is to hold the family together. That's its job.
Oh, so it's there from even before you were born?
Yeah, but somehow I guess it goes, eventually it finds a new host, to infect.
Okay.
But it's an old tool, so I don't know when I picked it up. I feel like I picked it up still at the same time of third grade, but it's responding to a different issue.
So it's from a different generation.
Right, a long time. It's like he says, generations and generations. Like it's
many
helped,
generations.
Yeah, that it's helped hold the family together, whatever the family means.
Okay. Is there anything else that this rusty big tool wants to say about what it was doing for all these generations?
Well, it says you have to do the right thing. You have to honor the traditions. You have to be respectable. You have to be careful. You have to be responsible.
What percentage of this rusty tool do you think belongs to older generations, and what percentage do you think belongs to you? Is it all from generations previous?
80% is old.
80%. Okay.
Yeah.
So ask it if it would be willing to give back the 80% to the other generations.
That's an interesting question. To give it to the other generations. I mean, it's not so willing because, that's like in the past.
I think it might be a gift to the previous generations for them to have it so that they could work it out. It might be healing for them to have their 80% back.
Their vote is no. They say that if we do that they'll be forgotten.
Who's going to be forgotten?
The other generations. They want me to carry the tool.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's really important. The generations don't want you to forget them.
Not at all, no.
Okay.
That I have to keep, now it's mine, and now I need to take it.
Yes. Now,
They did their job, and now
you have to take on this burden,
yeah.
this big rusty tool.
Even though 80%, right? They say, so what if it's 80%
Yeah.
for the past? Doesn't matter. Now it's my turn.
And they want you to have 100% of it.
Yes. So they'll be remembered.
Okay. So their past, that was their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion? Do you think that you need 100% of rusty big tool to...
No. No.
Okay.
As a courtesy, I'm willing to take 10% of their garbage.
Okay.
So 20% is mine. I'll take another 10%. They can have the 70%.
Okay.
It's not my problem.
So, all right.
What
So,
they've done over their hundreds of years.
okay.
You know,
so,
a little bit. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
So
I
you're-
get it. They made sacrifices.
You want to be respectful
Yeah.
to them, and they don't want to be forgotten, and you want to show them courtesy. So you're going to keep 10% of theirs, of their 80%.
Really. You know,
Okay.
it's so funny because my stomach actually feels better now. Like by 70%. Like it's so
Right.
funny. It's before it was so tight, and now it's not so tight. Like I can breathe more. It's crazy. Like I really feel like I can breathe more. But it is interesting. I do feel like I have to carry some of it. It's only right.
Okay. So let's take the 70%.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you want to give it back to the other generations?
Just let it fall away. You know, it's such a far trip down that I can't even hear it go clunk. It's already just dissolving. It's such a long, you know, just let it go down into the generations. You know.
Okay. So now we have 30% left of this rusty big tool that's clenching your stomach. And its job is to keep you holding the tradition and to keep you in line.
I don't know, be responsible, to be respectful. A lot of the R's, to be responsible, respectful, proper.
That's a P.
You know, no, but there's 2 R's, proper.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Responsible, respectful, proper. Anything else that the rusty big tool does?
Not really.
Okay, those are 3 big things. Responsible, respectful, and proper. So you're left with 30%. So 10% you took on as a courtesy to the generations before you. And 20% you feel belongs to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
So what would happen if you let go of the 30%? If the rusty big tool did something...
It's much smaller now, by the way. Very small.
So it's not so big now.
Yeah, it's like a you know, clothespin.
It's a clothespin now.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, like pinching me like that.
Oh, okay.
But it's not like this giant clamp.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Truth is, I don't care. It can stick around if it wants to. It's just a minor annoyance.
Well, I mean, why should you have a minor annoyance if we can find out a way for the clothespin to either do another job or do something more fun? Then
Well, I like the idea about doing another job. Like, I don't think we can dismiss it. But I think
of
another
course
job.
not.
I like the idea of another job.
We should absolutely not dismiss it. For sure not.
Okay.
The clothespin needs
I know
to...
exactly what it needs to do. I just know right away
Well,
what
ask
it needs
it.
to do.
Ask it, because it needs to feel respected.
No, it told me. Like
It told you? Okay.
I know exactly what it needs to do.
What is it?
It needs to go on my nose whenever something that really stinks comes up so that I don't smell it. Because people really do stinky things, and usually my MO is to just be responsive and proper and respectful and take it, you know? And I think that this job is a perfect job, that whenever something stinky comes along, the clothespin goes up my nose like that, and I don't have to smell any of the garbage. That's its job.
That sounds perfect.
It's amazing.
Okay, so...
Actually, it is so happy. It's found a whole new mission in life. It loves it. It loves it. Because, you know, there's a lot of stinky things that go on. You know, so it basically has a whole new mission in life.
Does the clothespin
It's
want...
got to be very busy. Because there's a lot of
Fantastic.
stink.
Okay. So you're good with that?
I'm fine
And the
because
clothespin wants to do
because
that.
you know sometimes you have to actually put up with the stink, but it's much better if you don't have to smell it.
Okay, ask the clothespin if it wants to say anything about this job description of clamping your nose so you don't smell the stink.
It's very happy. It's it feels like it's updated, like to the times. He's gotten with the times. Like there's a lot of stinky things going on, and every time something stinky comes up, he'll just clamp my nose so I don't have to smell the garbage.
Okay, so
My stomach feels so much better.
Great. He's been installed in the new job?
Yeah, he's really happy.
Fantastic. And where does he stay in between jobs? Like, he's on call, right?
Right, that's a good point. I guess my back pocket.
Okay. Alright, so
Easy
he's
enough
on
to
call.
get to. Yeah,
Okay.
he's on call. Anytime
Good.
something stinky comes up.
Fabulous. So that side of your stomach is feeling better?
Great.
Okay.
Really, really good,
Okay.
actually.
Okay. So now let's go to the other side of the stomach where that tool was clenching your stomach on the other side. Protecting, making sure that...
Which one, the annoyed? I'm very confused.
Well, protecting the
We had
third
the big
grader.
rusty tool, that we got rid of. Now
Right.
he's just a clothespin and he's going on my...
And what about the other tool? You had a tool on the other side that was protecting you when you moved to a different school?
Right, that was like the brain part. Right, that was the job, to be like a brain and think about.
Well, the third
things.
grader wasn't ready to unburden all the pain and hurt from being in that new school in that unsafe environment. Can you go back to that little third
Well, I thought
grader?
he's playing. I'm confused. Isn't he playing?
Yeah, he was
He's
playing.
playing at the beach.
Ask him
He's
if there's
playing.
anything that he needs to let go of from that time.
No, he's fine. He's playing.
Okay. So how's that tool on the other side of your stomach?
Well, I mean, he I mean, I think his point is that there are things that that still need protection, from. I mean, I get it sort of that it's in the past.
Well,
So what's he going to do?
You
I mean,
get
what's
it,
this
but
guy
the
going to
tool,
do?
the tool needs to know it, and your younger self needs to know it.
Well, my younger self's fine. He's playing. He's good. We guaranteed him he can play. He's fine. He's making sand sculptures.
Okay, so
and
which
having
part is
fun.
hanging on?
Well, this tool is sitting there. It's been following what's going on. He's been listening. So he's open to a new job, but it is very confusing for him.
Okay.
What's he supposed to do? School's out. There's nothing really to do.
Well, the part that was clenching your stomach to hold things together, that part's not there anymore?
We put him on the side. He's over here.
Okay, and he doesn't know what to do right now because
Right.
school's out?
Right. The big old rusty guy, we got him down to a clothespin. He's got a job.
Right, and
But
the
this
other
one,
Okay,
you know.
well maybe he doesn't need to have a job. Maybe he can go do something more fun, like go on vacation or some other interesting things.
I don't know. I think he's afraid to retire. Like, then what's he gonna do?
He's afraid to retire?
Yeah.
Ask
He's
him.
a little bit of a workaholic. you know.
Okay, ask him what is going on.
Well, he likes to read. So, if it's a good library with a lot of good books, he's willing to retire.
How old is he?
69.
How do you feel towards him?
Well, it's a little early to retire, but I mean, if he doesn't have to work and he's being taken care of and he likes to read, I don't think he's going to be bored.
Is that okay with you if he
Totally
hangs out
fine.
in a library?
totally fine.
Okay, do you want to ask him if he
That's
wants
where I want to retire one day, so I totally get it that he wants to do that too.
Yeah. So is there a specific library that he knows of that he wants to go to?
It doesn't matter as long as, but you know, I mean, definitely a more, a more serious one like like one where they have also like, uh, old manuscripts too, so you can do research and, different journals, like, but also like fiction, like you could read like something like the main branch in New York Public Library or some big university library, because this way whatever he's curious about, he could read and study whatever he wants to do.
Okay. So
His
is he
computer's
ready?
there, he could write if he wants to write.
Is he ready to go there now? Does he
He's
want you?
fine. He's ready to go.
He's ready to go. He doesn't need you to go with him.
He's very happy to retire.
Okay, so he's feeling ready to do
Totally. Yeah.
do
he's
his
good.
research and his
Yeah.
fun in his library.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how's the third grader?
Third grader's fine. He's playing.
How's your stomach?
A lot better,
Where are the tools? We got the clothespin in your back pocket.
right?
Any other tools left?
No, I got the guy in the library.
Okay. So what's left in your stomach?
Like a small, like stone.
Okay. Ask
A
it.
small stone.
Ask it what it's doing there.
It's dead. It's just dead. It's like a dead, inert thing. You can't digest it. It's a stone,
What do you think it represents?
Something happened that, like, you can't swallow, Like, you can't digest a stone. Like, there's something bad that happened that's worse than the bad smell. The bad smell, you put a clothespin on your nose. Like, it's just something that can't be okay. That can't be accepted.
Does it need to stay in your stomach?
Well, it's more like I can't get it out. I can't pass it. Like, because it can't fit through any of the holes. It's like if it were a kidney stone, like you wouldn't be able to pass it. You'd have to do surgery and cut it out. Like it's
Okay.
it's just a stone. It's not huge, but it's too big to pass through the system.
Okay.
And
So
it's hard.
yeah.
Like
So
rock.
we have to find a way to break it up, make it softer so that it could pass. Right? So ask it what it needs.
What it needs for what? To be broken apart?
For it to get rid of whatever it is it's holding. The thing that it can't swallow. Whatever it is that happened that it can't swallow. What does it need from you?
A lot of love, I think. A lot of love would melt that stone.
How would you like to give this stone a lot of love to help it melt?
That's a good question. I guess just by saying, that it's loved.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Does it know you're there?
It's really dissolving fast.
Is it feeling your love?
Yeah.
And what else does it need?
Nothing. It's just falling into like powder. Like it went from this like really like jagged, like made out of like concrete, like a kind of broken piece of concrete, and then it became this really smooth, like marbly kind of stone, and then like it just started to like really just to dissolve.
So where is it now?
Kind of sort of filtered down to my legs, you know.
Does it need anything else from you?
I don't think so.
Okay. So go back to your stomach and see if there's anything left.
Feels okay.
Okay. So in the beginning, you said that there was a part of you that was uncomfortable when you were sometimes interacting with your children, with your wife, that made it hard for you to make eye contact. When you think about that, what happens inside?
The eye contact piece?
Well, you said that you feel uncomfortable,
Right.
you don't know what it is,
Right.
and then it was that big tool, and then
Yeah.
another tool, right? So what comes to you when you think about interacting with your children and with your wife?
It feels like the tools, wherever they are, you know, the big rusty one and the other one.
The one that went to the library?
Yeah, like it's like, you know, like if a magnet is near something, like the metal kind of vibrates a little bit. It doesn't actually move, but it sort of like shakes a little. Like I'm feeling like those tools are sort of getting activated, but they're not clamping onto my stomach. They're just sort of like humming a little, like with a kind of magnetic force. Like they're picking up on the...
So the clothespin in your back
Issue.
pocket and the 69-year-old in the library are picking up something when you think about interacting with your children and your wife?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So ask them what it is that they're noticing.
Like some kind of fear, some kind of danger.
Are they both feeling the same thing, or is it different things?
It feels like pretty much the same thing.
Okay. Can they tell you more about the danger, the fear?
I don't know, it just... I think they're saying that they're afraid of, like, being forced into something, like being made to do something, being maybe like manipulated, you know, kind of like guilted into things, or some kind of, like not an aggressive emotional bullying, but like some kind of something like that, you know.
Are they together, those two parts? Do they know each other?
Yeah, I mean, because they both, you know, hung out around the stomach, so yeah.
So they know
they're
each
kinda,
other?
Yeah, they kind of speak with the same...
So they have a worry that you might be manipulated or forced into stuff or guilted into doing things.
Yeah, you're right. Not by You know, not by aggression, but by that.
In subtle ways.
Yeah.
By your family members.
Yes. Yes.
So they get ready to act.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what would happen if they didn't do that, and it was just you dealing with your family?
Well, I could, you know, be a little bit too nice, I suppose. You know.
So the tools, they help you?
Well, I do know if my stomach's hurting me that there's a problem.
Is your stomach hurting you now?
No.
So maybe they're just used to doing this job, these roles of protecting you from being in subtle ways manipulated, forced, guilted. They're just so used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if maybe yourself can handle those situations. Like if you notice that you might be guilted or manipulated by somebody, that you might be able to handle it yourself and not need these other tools.
And I could try. I do wonder whether I'll be able to not get, you know, guilted into something. I could cave. But,
So you don't want to cave.
nope. But that's what those guys are afraid of, you know.
They're afraid you're going to cave.
Yeah. I mean, they know. You know.
Okay.
They've been living with me long enough
Yeah.
to know that I'll agree to do things that I shouldn't really agree to.
Yeah. So how would you like to handle it now that you are 53 years old?
Well, you know, I don't mind doing things for people. Sometimes maybe I don't even do enough. It's just that I don't want to be manipulated into it. I want to be able to say that this doesn't feel or seem like, from the way that I see things, that I should have to do this.
Okay.
Like if the other person says to me, well, you know, here's why I think you should, I don't know, maybe I can be convinced, but I feel like I you know, I don't think, like sometimes, you know, you have to compromise or whatever. I'm okay with that. But it's the feeling that is just assumed that I should do it, and that I did, and that I can't say, you know, from the way that I look at it, I'm not saying I'm right or whatever, just the way that I look at it, it doesn't really feel like it's fair that I should have to carry that.
Okay. So is yourself capable of making those boundaries and expressing yourself and saying what you feel you should do or don't have to do? Or do you need these tools to help you?
I don't know. I mean, it's something I kind of have to try and keep in mind.
Well, perhaps...
I haven't been so good at that. My track record is not so good. Like, I could either get angry, or most often, because I try to be a nice guy, at least in my eyes, but maybe other people don't necessarily see it that way. You know, these things are complicated, but it's very rare that I can tell somebody that this just doesn't feel okay. From where I'm coming from, it doesn't feel okay.
Yeah, and the tools. What would happen if they wouldn't give you those warning signals? What would happen if they weren't there? If the 69-year-old guy stayed at the library and the clothespin only did the job of clamping down your nose when something stinks.
Well, I don't know. Like maybe, you know, maybe the 69-year-old guy should just poke me in the stomach just a little bit, just to kind of remind me, but just not take over. You know?
Oh.
Just
okay.
like send me a text, you know.
Okay. Well, if that's reasonable for you, ask him if that's reasonable for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's I think that that's a good possibility.
Okay.
Because I really do use like my stomach as my early warning system. Like my stomach's hurting, I know there's something I'm not comfortable with, And the truth is that, you know, like people say, like I feel it in my gut. Like my
Mhm.
gut tells me things. I just don't want it. Doesn't have to be like clamping me, like
Right.
like a vice. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you
fine.
don't you don't need that.
Just poke me.
Yeah.
You know.
So how about you have a little meeting
Mm-hmm.
with these two guys
Mm-hmm.
and see what you could negotiate that feels right to you.
We're willing to try it and see, you know, see what happens.
How's your stomach feeling now?
Pretty good.
And how's the little boy at the beach?
Yeah, no, he's just playing at the beach. He's doing fine.
Okay. And what about the clothespin?
Oh, he's got his job.
He's good with his job?
Yeah.
He's good hanging out? Being on call?
Mm-hmm.
What does he do in between times in your back pocket?
He reads also.
Okay.
We're a lot of readers.
Okay.
In the family.
Okay.
We all like to read.
And the 69-year-old, where is he now?
You know, he's in the library, but, you know, he checks in every now and then.
And he's going to send you a text if he senses somebody might be guilting you?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. So, what's your thought about interacting with your family members now? About,
Well, I think it's very interesting. I mean, it rings very true that there's something about, I think, that it does represent somehow, you know, this fear of being made to do something. And the truth is, I you know, it takes a lot of thought or practice to really see what's going to happen. But the truth is that the real early warning system is that I'm not feeling comfortable with the eye contact. It's saying that I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here because there's something that doesn't feel right.
mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that the one thing I don't think that I learned, now that I think about it a lot, is that the people in my life did not know how to, you know, there's some people don't know how to say no. There's some people who don't know how to say yes. But if I were really to think about the problem in my family was, I think people didn't know how to be honest that they didn't feel comfortable doing something and to talk about it. Which is neither a no nor it's a yes. It's I don't, from the way that I see it, I don't really think I should be doing this in a why do people think I should be doing it? You know, I don't think things were ever discussed that way in my family. So, like, I'm realizing that I never had that opportunity to really practice that. To really be in self around people who are not necessarily in self.
Do you remember a time doing it?
I feel that I've done it. I feel that I'm in a better place than I used to be in that way. But I also feel like it's kind of like a secret that I've never really discovered its power.
Would you like to blow the secret and unleash it?
I think it would be very interesting, you know, what would happen. It's very complicated. Because each member of the family would be affected differently because they need me to be a certain way and I accommodate their need of me to be a certain way. So to say that this is how you need me to be and we can talk about whether I should continue being that way, but I don't feel so good being that way, here's why. It would invite a lot of reactions.
Are you ready to try and experiment with that?
Yeah, I am actually.
Okay.
I am.
Okay. So, what have you learned from this session?
Well, I think that you know, my childhood came to a very abrupt end as a result of the changes of my school and my whole family's financial and living circumstances as a result of things that obviously were beyond my control. It doesn't matter right now what they were, but the point is that really happened. And I do think that there was a certain need to get very defended and very cooperative, in order to manage some extremely difficult circumstances. And I think I've always fallen back on that, and it's like being a soldier. You can be a very good soldier, but then when you come back into civilian life, a lot of those skills are a little bit off, they're a little bit too intense.
So you grew up not being able to really express any of what was going on inside. You just had to be a good soldier. And now...
Right, or you could be bad, because my family modeled being bad too. People sometimes yelled or screamed or misbehaved. But it was very rare that people were able to speak for not wanting to do something without it being a kind of, disobedience.
So now you're thinking about maybe experimenting with people in your present day life and expressing feelings about wanting to do something or not wanting to do something, and you don't want to be guilted or manipulated into doing things that don't feel comfortable for you. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see how you can make space for yourself to tell people how you feel.
Yes, that would be something to try.
Okay, any last words?
No.
How was this for you?
Very educational. Yeah, it is kind of unburdening. We'll see. To see what I can do with it.
What do you feel was unburdened?
Well, it's a sense maybe that I never really recovered from the upheavals of this transition from second to third grade and all the different changes it brought in my life and it brought in my family.
Okay, how are you feeling about the 70% that you let go down, deep down to the other generations?
It's fine by me.
Okay. Good.
Okay.